Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Demetrius, for your kind invitation and for your warm Greek welcome. And it's always an emotion to come back to Greece, which is the cradle of democracy and medicine. I come from the west part of France, as you can see, but it's called Brittany. I'm not involved at all in beta thalassemia. I don't know this disease because there are no patients suffering from beta thalassemia in Brittany. Our patients are adults and suffer from genetic hemoglobinosis related to HCV deficiency and are treated in much more simple than yours because it's only genetic. And in Greece, you are facing with beta thalassemia in children, and iron overload is related to transfusional iron, and you need oral or systemic treatment. So I will. So I will try to answer the question asked by Demetrius. Is it HCV or iron that is responsible for the evolution of fibrosis and the correlation between these two agents and the progression? I would like to remind you that any causal agent is responsible for the same pathway leading to fibrosis. And the first step is apoptosis and necrosis. And then you have phagocytosis of necrotic fragment of hepatocyte. And phagocytosis results in two main phenomena. The first one is a proliferative signal to survival hepatocytes. And the second is an action on this stellate cells, which results in the deposition of extracellular matrix and then into fibrosis. Phagocytosis is responsible for the secretion of many cytokines, TNF alpha, TGF beta, and the appearance of reactive oxygen species. It is well known that fibrosis is able to regress in all kinds of chronic liver disease. And you have here a paper from Quana and colleagues who shows that on large cohort of patients, there was a progression of liver fibrosis, but only after 40 years of age. And you can see in blue the progression in hemochromatosis patient, and in white the progression in HCV patient. It was quite the same. Conversely, fibrosis is able to regress, and the regression of fibrosis has been well documented in almost all cases, types of chronic liver disease, in HCV, in HBV, in autoimmune hepatitis, in hemochromatosis, and in alcohol also. The complete reversal of cirrhosis seems possible, but the return to a complete, fully normal liver is rarely observed and always difficult to assess. In beta thalassemia, as I've already shown my previous author, you have two main causes of chronic liver disease, HCV and sometimes HCV and iron, leading to Hepatitis C, diabetes, Ηπατοκυτταρικός, and heart failure, all causes of hepatic fibrosis, cirrhosis, and HCV. The main causes are Hepatitis C and hepatic iron, but there are also factors, aggravating factors, male gender and age, and in adults, you have to take into account alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. So I will go on through chapters. The first one is to try to answer the question, what are the respective roles of HCV and iron in the development and the progression of the fibrosis in your patient. I will quote two main studies. The first is in young thalassaemic patients who have been already transplanted of marrow, and now we do not need chelation therapy or antiviral therapy. So it's a very pure population of thalassaemic patients with iron overload. This was young people, aged 8, mainly males, which were followed for more than 5 years. Half were anti-HCV positive. And all these patients are liver biopsy each year during the follow-up. And they were classified according to the initial iron overload as low iron, HCC between 0.5 and 5.6. I think it's your unit in Athens. We use micromole, but do you because I will use your unit. Medium iron and high iron when higher than 12.5 micron. And the results were very striking because, as you can see, patients with high iron has a lower survival-free of fibrosis progression. Those with HCV negative and low or medium iron have normal expectancy with no fibrosis progression. And those with positive HCV and low or medium iron were in the middle of it. When plotting hepatic iron concentration and the rate of fibrosis progression according to HCV status, you can see that patients who were anti-HCV negative were fibrotic and progression of the fibrosis only when hepatic iron concentration exceeds 16 milligram per gram. It was not a full case in anti-HCV positive patients, and you can see fibrosis progress even in those with low iron excess in the liver. The conclusion of this study was that in children cured from beta thalassemia by bone marrow transplantation and free of transfusion and antiviral therapy, iron overload and HCV infection are independent factors for fibrosis progression, but their concomitant presence results in a striking increase in it. Another study, what I want to quote, is the study from individual group, because this study is only dealing with adult thalassaemic patients, and you can see that the image was 37. Last sex was only 45%. Anti-HCV was in 75% of patients, and serum creatinine was high in most patients. Liver biopsy was performed in more than 100 patients. Of those, 19% were anti-HCV positive. And a study quantitative assessment of hepatic iron and carcinoid fibrosis were performed. It showed that despite it seems on this graph that hemosiderosis tends to increase as the stage of fibrosis increases. In fact, there was no significant correlation using the experiment test, and this was confirmed by the absence of correlation between hemosiderosis and fibrosis on this other graph. Similarly, this author did not find a real effect of HCV positivity on the stage of fibrosis in these patients. But we have to be cautious because there are only 10% of patients with free of anti-HCV antibody. This finding are not so surprising because, as you know, there is mild consequence of HCV infection in children. We can see that the spontaneous clearance is almost 30% of them during a 10-year follow-up. There is minimal progression between the before the age of 30 or 40. And this progression after adulthood is mainly related to alcohol and associated factors such as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So if iron is not, and HCV are not very directly implicated in the progression of liver fibrosis, what is the reality of the trigger factor? And we can move on the effect of iron chelation. We had the chance to participate in the Novartis studies, 107 and 108. And you know these two studies, pivotal studies. And during this pivotal study, liver biopsy was done at fly, and 3 years after the beginning of the treatment. And we had to see all these liver biopsies. And we performed liver iron concentration. And this determination of liver pressure concentration was important because it allows for defining the success of the failure of treatment according to sophisticated grading. And this is important to know that the patients were divided into two groups, one with success therapy, and one with failure. We also performed a semi-histological assessment of iron and Shark scoring in this patient. And what we found, the first test, fibrosis was stabilized or improved in more than 2/3 of patients. And this stabilization or improvement was not related to LEC response. As you can see, in the whole population, the main result with more than 2/3 patients improving or stabilized. As you can see, there was no difference according they were whether they were in the failure or the success. And this was also respective of HCV status. And we noted that there was no correlation between changes in fibrosis and in LEC. You can see here the Ishak fibrosis staging, but again the absolute charge in liver iron concentration, and you can see there is no correlation. And this was the case in any other subgroup, success, failure, HCV positive, HCV. We also found that there was an improvement of activity grading, and that this improvement was irrespective of HCV status. You can see in the whole population the improvement in both groups, positive and negative. It was not statistically very different. And it was the same in the two groups, success or failure. We found that there was no correlation between changes in LEC and necrotic inflammation in the whole population, and also in any of the subgroups, success, failure, HCV positive or HCV negative. So the conclusion of this paper was we had no relationship between the improvement in LEC and of the fibrosis, and this improvement was appear irrespective of HCV HCV status. So what could be the factor responsible for the improvement of fibrosis? And we suggest that it could be linked to an effect of deferrence of TBI. Normally, phosphoryl saturation is saturated less than 50%, and iron is enters the cell through the phosphoryl receptor and goes into the labyrinth iron pool for functional iron and storage iron. When phosphoryl saturation exceeds 50%, a special form of iron appears, which is called non-phosphoryl bound iron. And non-phosphoryl bound iron enter very quickly and easily into cells and goes into the labyrinth iron pool, and then this results in an increase of the labyrinth iron pool. This increase of labyrinth iron pool results in an increase of storage by iron, and mainly in the production of H2O, which are very damaging for lipids, protein, DNA, and which are involved in the development of fibrosis. Moreover, storage iron inhibits the normal pathway of iron in the cell, but has no effect on the on NTBI entering the cell. What is interesting is that NTBI is avidly taken up by both hepatocytes and cardiomyocytes, the two main sites of damage in beta-thalassemia. NTBI corresponds to very numerous forms of iron, and only a part of NTBI is calculable, and it is called LPI, lead iron, and this LPI results in the production of peptidocytes. There is global good correlation between phosphoryl saturation and LPI, and you can see that above 70% LPI can be detectable. The problem of LPI is that there are many types of assays which have been performed, and they are not comparable, and today it's not easily usable in the team. Porter and colleagues have produced recently some interesting data, and they compare several types of iron-loading anemia, Thalassemic major, sickle cell disease, and Deugnier. And what is important to keep from this slide is that phosphate saturation was always complete in patients with thalassemia when compared to sickle cell disease, for example. NTBI was markedly elevated, LPI also, and iron concentration was not so high compared to sickle cell disease. And the author proposed that NTBI in this kind of iron-loading anemia results from three different pathways, and that two pathways are partly involved in thalassemia major. Iron overload, obviously, from phosphoryls, and ineffective erythropoiesis from the bone marrow. There is no correlation between LPI and iron excess when determined using liver iron concentration, and Pigache showed this in 2009, and you can see that there is correlation between phosphoryl saturation and LPI. There was no correlation between seroferritin and LPI, and there is liver iron concentration and LPI. And LPI was very useful to plot patients in black circle having heart disease. This absence of correlation between LPI and lung sex was also shown by a recent publication in Australia comparing several categories of iron losing anemia, and thalassemia major is in blue, as you can see. And you can see that during the ethics study, what you know, and you can see that seroferritin, while patients were classified according to seroferritin levels, both at baseline and at the end of study. At baseline, there was an increase in LPI in all categories of seroferritin. And at the end of the study, LPI was normal or low, and this was seen in all types of categories of seroferritin. And this can be explained by the effect of ionization. When dosing LPI patients who are treated by Deugnier, you can see that at baseline LPI is extremely high, and very quickly it decreases, and it remains low during all time of the treatment, irrespective of the effect of the evolution of liver iron concentration. So to conclude and to summarize, in beta thalassemia, HCV and iron overload are independent and cumulative factors for fibrosis progression. Eradication of HCV being currently available in most patients, iron excess will remain free. Chelation therapy results in regression of fibrosis, irrespective of HCV status and of changes in liver iron, likely through the maintenance of low LPI levels. And LPI determination could be an additional tool for monitoring response to chelation therapy. Thank you for your attention.